Hello, testing. Hi, Susan, how you doing? You got the PDFs, no? We are working out of Gary Chaffee's book, rather, Time Functions. You have the book now, and if you turn to page 12, I have given you the PDFs for the breakdown on number 23 and 24, the combinations. Okay? You have them, correct? Now, are you able to play these using this pattern? You can play them. Good for you. You're going to make me a video? You're going to make me a video? Okay. How about left-handed? All right, you're a lot further than I thought you were. That's good. Very good, Susan. What we'll do then, the reading itself, when I gave the PDFs, I gave a breakdown of every measure. And, well, if that's pretty easy, let's do another symbol ostinato. Let's do the symbol ostinato. You don't have the PDF, so you're going to have to follow along. What I'm doing, I'm going to play right-handed. I'm going to play 1 E end. All right, 2 E end, 3 E end, 4 E end. So I'm going to have this. Have you ever worked with that pattern before? That's one of his symbol ostinatos. Now, this book is like, I think, 20, 25 years old. And a lot of people just get confused of the way this is presented. You've played that ostinato pattern. All right, let's go to page 11. Let's hang out with that. Page 11, what we're going to do, you can play that. You can play both right-handed and left-handed. All right, let's go to page 11. I'm going to do this, 1 E and 2 E and. But look at my right hand. My right hand comes down, up, tap, down, up. Let me give you only one person watching. You get booted, I guess. I got the switch back on. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, do you have, being it's just you here today, is there anything that you'd like to go over, or review, revisit, that you're not certain of? I did want to hang out with the agenda, but that's okay. If you know how to play them. Can you play right-handed and left-handed as well? Yes, no, maybe. You can. Okay, is there anything, you have that book. You have, it's called Rudimental Swing by Charlie Wilcoxon. You can't do both. Okay. All right, well, maybe I should start studying with you. There are 99% of the people here, you don't have the book. There's 99% of the people here who can't play them right-handed and left-handed. That's what the lessons are about. So being that it's just you and I, is there anything that you would like to revisit until somebody else comes in? Anything. How about the Gary Chester book? As a warm-up, here's what I normally do. I'm going to play. Okay. I'm going to play the 16th note pattern. Right hand on the hi-hat. No accent, one sound. And I'll play 16ths on the snare. And I'm going to play my left foot 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Okay, we're going to do page 11. Now, I might stay on line 1 for a little bit. I might go to line 2. So try to follow. Okay, good. Excellent. When are you going to come in for another lesson? I have the switch. The switch is on. Testing, testing. Test, test. The switch is on. When are you coming in for another private lesson? All right, well, what I'm going to do is play page 11 using the right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare, and we're going to play the hi-hat with the foot. So we're going to get this. We're going to keep that going, and I'm going to warm up a little bit. What I'm going to do is play the bass drum part. First, I'm going to do 16th notes straight ahead. When I feel good about that, then I'm going to do line 1, line 2, line 3, but not like just line 1 3 or 4 times. Until I feel good about it, I'm going to go to the second one. All right. In this particular case, there is no right or left hand lead because both hands are coming together. I wish I could see. Okay, so what we're going to do, you understand what I'm going to do, Susan? Okay, I should be using the hi-hat, all right? Now, I'm going to play down page 11, and not in any particular 1 or 2 times. I'm just going to play line 1 for a while, line 2 for a while, line 2 for a while, line 3. Here we go. Now what I would do, and I'm just giving a lesson now, I'm not going to be playing that over and over and over again for you. That's like me practicing. But that's how I would start my practice, using that particular pattern. And that really intunes you to taking a balance between the right hand, the snare drum, and the hi-hat, and exploding the bass drum. Okay? Now, there's no right-handed or left-handed because both hands are in harmony or in unison or layered. So, I'll do the same thing with the second ostinato that we've been working on, playing eighth notes with the right hand on the hi-hat. And this time I'd like you to add, if you have a cable hat, add the left foot on 2 and 4 and play the right hand on the hi-hat here and playing the second pattern. Here we go. You're playing. So on and so forth. Okay? It's a lot of fun. But again, how I would start this is do 16th notes with the bass drum and alternate the right and left hand lead. For example, here you go. Now, if you want to go to the extreme, you could use as a reference to how many times you're going to do it to the right side, how many times you could do it to the left side, and it's a good focus. The switch is on now. The switch is on now. I'm sorry. When the switch is off, can you still hear me? Can you hear? It's okay now, but when I turn the switch, oh, you can't hear me. Okay, I apologize. I just need to get a couple more lessons under my belt with this switcher so I remember it. I've been doing this for a while without a switcher, so I'm not accustomed to turning it on and off. Right now it's on, you could hear me. What I'm going to do, you do the page, okay, with the 2 patterns. You're doing 16th notes with the right hand. If you have the cable, on the right hand hi-hat. The left foot would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 16th and would be on a hi-hat with the right and a hi-hat with the left. You do the endurance. Then you run down page 11. Now you don't have to be perfect, do it once, twice, like you're not performing with another drummer or your teacher. What you're doing is you're practicing. So if you need to hang out with line 1, hang out there. Go to line 2 when you feel good about it. Go to line 2 over and over, how many times you want to do it. Line 3, 4, 5, and 6, so on and so forth. Both with the 2 patterns. Now, what you're telling me is those 2 patterns are pretty simple for you, which I could understand because they're very basic. So we're going to go a little bit more in depth with the Chester book with his systems. And we're going to apply his systems so you could see foot patterns. And then we're going to take 2 or 3 or 4 measure phrases, and you're going to count them, and then you're going to hum them. Okay? All right, so that's what I'd like you to do. Now, with the four-way coordination, we did an exercise, if you remember. We referenced from the stick control book, and we thought about 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and as written. And we decided that we're going to make whatever happens on 1 and 3 and is going to be the top meaning your hands. When you come to 2 and 4 and, it's going to be the bottom, meaning the bass drum and hi-hat. And we did it 3 different ways. We did it 4-way coordination, we did it harmonically, and we did it cross-harmonic. It's on, no? You can still hear me. So let's try that. Right, what you have to do is you have to balance it. You're obviously, you have the 4 voices that you're using. So the hi-hat voice with the right hand, the snare drum with the left hand, and the hi-hat with the foot, you should try to make it as musical and blending in as possible. You play the bass drum as that's going to be your solo voice. Not solo, your dominant voice is the better word. You're going to really punch that bass drum. You do the 16th notes for 2-3 minutes. Then you go to the Chaffee book, and then you go to the combination exercises. And what you do with the combination exercises right now is just count them. Because I'm going to start doing notation against the patterns, which you will hum. How can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I'm talking. You're confusing me, Susan. I'm on. Testing 1, 2, I'm on. All right, let me reiterate on that. Okay, here's what we're doing. When you're playing the first system of Gary Chester's book, you're playing 16th notes. You can play it on 2 different voices, one with the right hand and one with the left hand. I'm taking my right hand, I'm putting my right hand on the cable hat and my left hand on the snare drum. I'm using my left foot, that's the hi-hat, on the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what I'm doing is I'm blending that right hand, snare drum, and left foot. Not that one voice is dominating the other, that they blend in together and making it musical. Now, when you're playing the bass drum against that pattern, you're exploding the bass drum. Hit it without disrupting the sound of your limbs. Now, with all the ostinatos and all the systems, that's what you want to do. So after that, then you go into the Chaffee book, all right, and you work down page 11 with both patterns, right-handed. Well, the first one you don't have to do right-handed and left-handed, but the second one you're going to do right-handed and you're going to do left-handed. When you go to the combination exercises, number 23 and 24, you're using that one particular pattern. The 8th notes, on a hi-hat, snare drum is 2 and 4, and the pedal hi-hat is 1, 2, 3, 4. Your bass drum is playing the bass drum parts. You're doing it both right-handed and left-handed. If you do not have a cable hat, use your ride cymbal. Then when you do it left hand, keep the hi-hat closed and do it on the left hand. Do we understand that? Now, how do you pronounce that? I'm sorry. Who is that? Kizilov? I'm sorry. Well, welcome. I think it's your first time here. And if you don't have the PDFs, you could email me and I'll send them to you. Christopher, okay, that's better. We're on the patterns book, Time Functions. Got that? Binga da bonga. Let me do that again. Oh, you have it. Okay. Email me and I'll send you the PDFs, okay? What I did is I broke down the combination exercises on page 12, number 23 and 24. I broke them down a little different because there are some students whose reading skills are not up to par, or some just don't know how to read. And what I did was I broke it in a foolproof way or a manner of teaching. And when you get the PDFs and you come back, I'll explain that to you. Right now, what you want to do is email me. I'll send you the PDFs. But we're working and we're combining the stick control book, Gary Chester's New Breed, and Gary Chaffee's Pattern Series. This series we're using time functions. We're on page 11 and 12 for now. And we're trying to develop open-handed drumming from the right side and from the left side. That's not easy. Christopher, are you right-handed or left-handed? Susan, are you right-handed or left-handed? Okay, for your benefit, Susan, you're trying to develop four-way coordination. Next week, what I'm going to be doing is doing some three-voice linear patterns using the paradiddle, the double paradiddle, and applying it to the drum set. Now, there's no actual placement in any particular kind of tune. It's something that, you can learn, and if you need to apply it, you apply it wherever it fits inside of a tune. Well, it takes a lot of hard work, Christopher. Let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. If I did, do you have the Gary Chester, the Chaffee book? Do you have that book, Patterns, Time Functions? If you have it, if you don't have it, we'll do the stick control book then. You should have the stick control book. Open-handed, Billy Cobham was the one who really put it in the forefront, and that was many moons ago. And he's just naturally ambidextrous, which is great. And everybody's trying to do that. If you have the time functions, you have the stick control book, okay. Let me give you an exercise to the left side. Are you right-handed or left-handed? You're right-handed, okay. What you want to do, I'm going to keep the voice monitor on, okay? So it's a matter of interpreting the stick control book. So kind of like take this as a revisit, okay, Susan? Example, if I took the stick control book, the first line as written on one surface, I'm going to play really soft. The sticking pattern was 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's what you see. And that's good. That's the way he intended it. Now, what I'm doing is I'm taking that two measures and making it one measure. So I just played 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So now I'm going to reference the whole page that way. However, there's one more reference. When you're referencing 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a on line 1, I want you to play all the rights. with the bass drum and eliminate the lefts. Okay, so if I do that, that's what it gives me. If I did line 2, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 3 E and da, 4 E and da. So line 1 comes on the downbeat, line 2 comes, you guess you could say upbeat, the E and the da. Line 1, the bass drum falls on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The second line, the bass drum falls on the E and da of 1, the E and da of 2, E and da of 3, E and da of 4. Now, that's the interpretation. The first system in the new breed, if you have that book, fine. And if you when you email me, let me know if you have that book. If not, I'll send you the system we're working with. Okay? So here's what I do. I'm going to play with my right hand on the cable hat. My snare drum is going to be doing the 16th with my left hand. My hi-hat with the foot is going to be playing 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to interpret the stick control book. Just line 1 and line 2. I'm going to go in and out of line 1 and line 2. Here you go. Did you understand that, Christopher? I know Susan did. That's the stick control book, one of the interpretations. Okay, you got it. Just another way to use the stick control book. No, the greatest book ever written. All right, now that's one of his systems. You could do the whole 3 pages like that, and you could turn again to the patterns, time functions, page 11, and play that system or pattern and play all the bass drum parts down. You're eliminating the 2 and 4 backbeat, no accent. You want to do a nice blend here. You want the right hand, snare drum and hi-hat, a nice musical level. Nothing is dominating that figure. When you play the bass drum, that's the dominant voice. You want to really smack that. So we're going to do that for a little bit. Now I have a tendency to hit that 2 and 4 a little louder as the backbeat. You want to free yourself of that. You want to continually have a musical blend rather. Now you do that with page 12. The combination exercises 1, 23 and 24. Now, open-handed, if I'm using a different figure, example, 8th notes with the right hand on the hi-hat, my snare drum 2 and 4, my hi-hat with the foot 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll play down the Chaffee book. Then I'll play down the stick control book. Or I'll do the combinations, 23 and 24, both right-handed and left-handed. Now, if you're right-handed, obviously your left side is a lot weaker. Now here comes the concept of stick control. George Lawrence Stone intended for you to equalize your right and equalize your left, strength-wise and sound-wise. That is the stick control book, one of the primary reasons. Now, if I did, say, play the eighth notes, okay, with my right left hand on the hi-hat, here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However, what I'm doing is I'm counting 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And I'm playing the 2 and 4 with my right hand on the snare drum. And I'm playing, obviously, the foot patterns with the bass drum. Now, the object here is to strengthen it. So if you're weak, here's where you should be. Now, I just played the first 4. I'm not going to sit here and do the whole page. But I did it slow. What's that? While. Well, I'm taking all the system. That's the system. The eighth note with the right hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The left hand, 2 and 4, the snare drum. My hi-hat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I look at, say, the stick control book, or number 11, page 11, or page 12, combinations 23 and 24. And I'm playing them down with that pattern over and over and over again. That's where you're going to get your strength. Now, one thing you have to really get into focus here is when I'm playing the right hand with that pattern, the eighth notes, I'm not going to talk, so I'm going to shut the switcher off. Now, what I did was I played a downstroke and an upstroke. I exaggerated it to the max. The thing is, you want to get a musical flow. This is, I'm going to demonstrate it here with the right hand. It's constant. So my 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be a little heavier than the ands. You get the idea, Christopher? Christopher, you get the idea? It's a lot of work. And the whole trick, well, it's not a trick, it's you have to be consistent. You have to practice this stuff every day. You have to make the right side and the left side get nightmares about it. Just don't get dizzy, because there are parts of things that we do. We're going to go clockwise and counterclockwise. It makes you dizzy. So just be careful. Okay? Now, I'm going to end the lesson. Well, yeah, it is. It's a lifetime routine. You know, I don't like the term routine, but I do use a routine, not for the drum set. Here's what I do. I open up the stick control book and I work on the drum pad. Just to warm up, I'll do the first page, full strokes, then half strokes, then I'll vamp for an endurance, maybe for 3-4 minutes at a variety of tempos, and then I'll develop some accents, and then I'll go to page 10 and 11, and I think 13, and work them out. Now, that's my routine almost on a daily basis, okay? Now, I put that aside. That's like somebody who jogs or somebody who does mixed martial arts. They do some stretching exercises. That's how I could associate that to loosening up and warming up. Now, my practice is not routine itself, only because I might be journeying into something new, or something, I might be revisiting something to reevaluate it, or developing something entirely new, or writing, or teaching. That's you could say that would be the rest of the day. Okay, what did you say here? All right, it is a lifetime. You could say that. You know, if you're going to be a musician, you're going to be a drummer, you should be walking around with drumsticks and a stick control book in the back of your back pocket, or even mental drumming. Have any of you tried mental drumming? It works because everything comes from your mind. And I've worked out things in my mind and then sat down at the set and played it. But anyway, I need to close up. Okay? Christopher, email me, and if you can't, where are you from, Christopher? Right now it's 20 minutes to 2 Eastern Standard Time. What is your time? And where are you from? All right, you'll get what you need. Now, the YouTube, you're from Poland, okay. So I think there's a 7-hour difference, correct? Right now it should be 9 p.m. Oh, it's 6 hours, okay. Anyway, I do on Monday and I do on Wednesday, 2 different streams. My 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is on YouTube. Monday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. And then at 8:30 p.m., I do an additional stream on my site, which is a paid-for site. Okay? So this is going to end, this free stream is going to end come November 1st. So everything's going to be to my site. If you feel inclined to become a member, do so. If not, you know, you're not going to see me on YouTube only very, very rarely. And it will not be a drum set application. It will be a one surface lesson. Okay? All right, Sue, I hope you do. Anyway, I'm also putting together some individual videos, which will be up for sale, hopefully by November. Okay? Just little videos, $1.52, $2.50, so on and so forth. I'm working on it, see how I can do that, and I'm close. So anybody have any questions at this point before I close up? Thank you, Christopher. So if you feel like you want to join. It's twice, 4 times a week. I know that you probably won't be able to make the 8:30 because it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning in Poland. Well, the Chester book I've had for years and years and years, and I've gone through some, but the things that I'm teaching make the Chester book a lot easier. Not, you know, the problem most people have, they can figure it out mathematically. That's not the problem. The problem is how you approach it musically and hum the line against the pattern. A lot of people fall down. So we're going to work a lot in the Chester book, a lot in the Chaffee book, the stick control book, and we're going to bring in the syncopation book. On one surface, we're going to hang out just with the stick control book and all the Morello books. Okay, and then my stick control formulas. So, let that be said. We're going to come back this evening, 8:30, on www.mattpatelalivelessons.com. Okay, had a good rest of the day, guys.